Sure. We actually started a good few years ago now, probably 4 years ago, I suppose, starting thinking about it and looking at how it could possibly benefit our company. We weren't quite in the right place to implement it immediately, in that we didn't have sort of necessarily efficiency systems in place, but we spent a year putting in a new database and computer system, which massively saved our time and brought a lot of things together, really. And that enabled us to implement a 4-day week trial originally, back at the beginning of 2020.
So can you just confirm to me, staff are on the pay they were before, but doing fewer days each week. So what's productivity been like? What have you learned as a result of this?
Sure, yeah. So we've gone for a model of what's sort of known as the gold standard 4-day week, so that people that were on a 5-day a week contract moved to 80% hours, so that's obviously 4 days, but retaining 100% pay. And there's a lot of studies out there. There's one ongoing one in the UK at the moment, as I'm sure you're aware, that moving to 4 days can actually increase productivity amongst the workforce. And the thinking really is that people are more rested. They've got a whole day to sort of do home admin and all the other things that you would usually do on the weekend. Then they've got 2 days weekend where they can really relax and really regenerate and recharge, and then come back into work focused and really intent on cracking through the work in 4 days. So from our perspective, when we did the trial back at beginning of 2020, just before the pandemic, we were looking at some sort of key performance indicators of numbers of emails and turnover and number of calls and such like, and there was very little change, to be honest. Certainly no discernible drop off, and actually a few people increased performance or number of calls, etc., that they've made. But the overriding thing really was that people felt a lot more balanced between work and home. They felt a lot less stressed. There was a much better approach to work-life balance. And so, we felt it was a real positive. So post-pandemic, obviously being a travel company, we've had a rough couple of years. But no, post-pandemic now we've gone back to the 4-day week, and any new full-time jobs that we advertise will be on that 4-day a week basis.
Were you surprised when you looked at how productive people were over 4 days as opposed to 5, or were you not surprised? What was your gut feeling when you went into this?
I think gut feeling amongst the team was that there was a lot of uncertainty about whether we could make it work. I think a lot of concern that we wouldn't get through our workload. There has to be, moving to a 4-day week, a certain element of accepting that you're not going to get everything that you want done, and prioritization is incredibly important. And we went through with the team, various different ways that we can prioritize our work. But I'm not really that surprised. It seems a bit counterintuitive. I totally understand that, and sometimes when I'm personally, thinking, I should, I've got too much to do, I need to come in on my day off or do a bit of extra work. It seems really counterintuitive to take that extra day off, but actually it's a mindset choice, I suppose, that actually, no, I'm going to have those 3 days, and I'm going to really focus when I'm in the office. And you do make yourself more efficient because you're working hard for those 4 days, definitely.
It's interesting. I've heard people talk about how, in the old days, for example, the mail would come in, it would need to be sorted. You process the mail, that job would be finished. Now, with emails, they're all times of the day, all times of the night. People are on their device until 9 o'clock at the night, some 9 o'clock in the evening, sometimes working. Are you finding that kind of culture has gone in because people understand the task, they're able to plan more rather than feeling overwhelmed, which some employees undoubtedly do at other organisations?
Yeah, I think that's a cultural thing in an organisation to an extent, and trying to install in people, and that comes from top down, that actually when you leave the office, or we don't expect people to be replying to emails at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and that I think is about trying to install that culture that it's healthy to have a good break. It's healthy that work is one part of our lives, and hopefully we enjoy our work and our jobs, and we do good, positive, affirming work. But that has to be balanced, and I think we can do that by being quite rigid and being strong, if you like. It's very easy. So I'll just reply to that email, or I'll just take that call. But it's not something that happens straight overnight. I think you need to get into a habit of it. But in terms of mental health, and it's absolutely vital. We know, and myself have been full foul to this, of always trying to do more, always trying to get that little bit of extra business, put in place this project that I've wanted to implement. But actually, that's only sustainable for so long, and actually having a balance between work and life outside work is really the key to long-term sustainability of work, I think.
Obviously, you've been on this journey for a couple of years now, and your experiences will obviously be very related to your particular sector. But are there any lessons that you would draw out about this generally and advise to others who are certainly, their ears have pricked up when you've been talking here during this interview?
If you're thinking about moving to a 4-day week, I would definitely encourage you to at least trial it. I think it needs to be carefully planned. You need to think about, how you're going to staff, say, an office over 5 days, and who's going to take which days, etc. Obviously, that takes some logistical planning. But I think, society is massively inundated with all sorts of pressures at the moment, particularly. But I think that 4-day week balance can really bring benefits, and it does have to come from the employer, and they have to totally buy into that. And I think slowly society will shift over time. Years and years ago, people were predicting the downfall of our economy when we moved from a 7-day week to a 5-day week. So, things change. Society's perception of work and work-life balance changes as well. It may not be right for every business, but I think if you can put in place certain protocols and procedures and efficiency savings, then I don't think anyone really would look back and think the 4-day week is a bad thing, and certainly not certainly something to be embraced. I think if you can make it work for your company. Yeah.